Boyfriends, Chocolates and China by Babs Ruiz. Fairy Meadow, 2519. Narrated by Chloe Schwank. Where do I begin to tell the story of how great a love can be? This song means the world to me. It triggers a myriad of memories that can never be taken away. I was just 15 when I met Andy, and he was 17. We met in a group going to Battersea Park Funfair for the day. Our first meeting was not a date. Oh my goodness, though, many dates followed that day in quick succession. The attraction was instant. Andy was Greek, with the thickest head of black hair and the most gorgeous pair of big brown come-to-bed eyes you have ever seen. Yes, even at that young age. He was my first love. Sadly, Andy's mother did not approve of me. She wanted a nice Greek girl for her only son to marry. Obviously, I didn't qualify. I had an English mother and a Polish father. Andy used to come to my place and we would spend time together. My parents would leave us in the kitchen and they would be in the lounge, and my father would noisily walk the corridor between the two to make sure we were on our best behaviour and not getting up to any hanky-panky, as he would put it. We would also sit in the back row of the movies, and often I would come home not knowing much about the movie. Andy and I went to parties together and shared a lot of fun and laughter. We were so happy. We had our world mapped out. When he left school, he was going to university, and I was going to train to become a nurse. We loved each other so much. He even bought me a gold signet ring, which I've kept all these years. Then came a very cruel blow. About 2 years into our dating, my mother became very concerned about how serious our relationship was becoming and sat me down for one of her lectures, and I quote, "Choosing a boyfriend, darling, is a lot like choosing a chocolate from a box. If you stick to the same flavour all the time because you know you like it, then how would you know that there may be another flavour in there that you might prefer?" I had one trip to Oxford to visit him, and our relationship then ended abruptly. My mother told me not to see him anymore. I cried and cried and cried. He was broken-hearted, and so was I. The years went by, but he was always close to my heart. I often thought of him, wondered where he was and if he married. As the years passed, I became a nurse in England, met another chocolate, and ended up coming to Australia to live. Andy was only ever a thought away, but I had no way of knowing where he was or how to contact him. My relationship with the chocolate I came to Australia with did not work out, and after 10 years we went our separate ways. Looking back, I think I pined for Andy all that time. I don't think I ever recovered from our separation, but obviously I had to move forward and get on with life. I ended up being on my own in Australia with no family here. I didn't really have a choice but to become fiercely independent for my survival. Both my parents visited Australia, but sadly my father passed away and then Mum would come on her own. I didn't know that I was being so closely observed, but one day, just out of the blue, over a cup of coffee and without an ounce of malice, my mother said, "I think you could do better in the male department if you could just pretend to be a little more helpless." Duh! When she saw that I didn't appreciate her observation, she laughed it off and said, "All the best china gets left on the shelf, darling. It is the mugs that get used all the time." Well, this piece of china shrugged the comment off and determinedly forged ahead. At that stage of my life, I struggled with the computer and was glad when I retired. At the ripe old age of 67, I started computer lessons. I was shown how to Google, and oh my goodness, did I Google! Early one morning, I don't know where my brain was, but with my newfound skills, I decided to Google his name, some details, and oh! Up came this bald old man with big brown eyes. Could that be Andy? I became so obsessed with curiosity that I sent an email to his workplace starting with the words, "Hello, I live in Australia." I thought that would make him feel safe. Yes, it is me. I was almost hysterical when I got an immediate reply. He didn't marry a nice Greek girl. He married an Irish lass when he was 28. We have spent the last 5 years chatting on the phone and having a wonderful time down memory lane. He told me it took a long time for him to get over our separation as well. The easy rapport was still there, and the love. I wear 3 rings on my fingers. One is my father's wedding ring, one is my mother's wedding ring. Poignantly, Andy passed away from cancer at the beginning of this year. He was 74. I have no words to describe how I feel. He was my first love, my mentor, my teacher, my best friend. He gave and has left me with so much love and cherished memories. I am devastated he has gone. I write this story as a tribute to his memory, and now I wear his ring, 50 years later, on my little finger. What made me? Love. The end.